You are watching Morning Musings with Reinhard von Hennings, chairman and founder of Bridge House Law in Charlotte, North Carolina.
What is the deal with the strikes in Hollywood? Hello, this is Reinhard von Hennings. But before we talk Hollywood, let's talk also strikes a little bit. In the United States, strikes are relatively rare, relatively speaking, compared to other industrialized countries. While strikes may be seen as a powerful tool for workers to demand a better pay, better working conditions, or better benefits, American workers have been historically hesitant to use them. This may be due in part to complicated laws and regulations governing unions and the laws regarding strikes in the United States. But one of the reasons I believe why strikes are so much not known in the United States is that the United States has one of the strictest labor laws in the developed world. Why? Employers have the opportunity to challenge every strike in court, which could lead to an injunction or even a criminal charge against the union. In addition, America has states which are so-called right-to-state jurisdictions, and states who have those right-to-work jurisdictions have laws that prohibit unions from requiring members and requiring workers to pay union dues as a condition of employment. So it's true. There are states where unions can demand union dues from anybody, whether they're a member or not, and the right-to-work jurisdictions do not allow that. So in those states, it makes it harder for unions to organize and to maintain their membership. Unions have been seen as a way to protect labor rights, and therefore they're protected under federal laws as well. Unions have a right to engage in bargaining opportunities and bargaining agreements with employers, which means unions agree and negotiate for better wages, benefits, and working conditions. But employers are not required to bargain with unions, and they can eventually refuse to take the benefits if they choose. So let's talk about Hollywood. This new Hollywood strike is out there. Since last week, Hollywood is on strike, and a couple of TV production shows are no longer being produced. This Screen Actors Guild, also known as SAG, as well as the Writers Guild of America, also known as WGA, are two powerful unions in the entertainment industry. Both represent actors, the SAG, or writers, the WGA. Both unions have been involved in strikes in the past, and most notably in the year 2007-2008, for over 100 days the WGA went on strike. So what happened at that strike? In 2007-2008, during the writers' strike, the movie and television industry suffered significant losses. It's estimated that the strike cost for the industry was an estimated $2.5 billion in lost revenue. Many shows were forced to shut down production. How did it come to that? The strike was a result of a disagreement between writers and whatever is a fair compensation for, you don't believe it, digital media sales. So as early as the year 2007, digital media sales were a topic. The movie industry is particularly vulnerable to strikes because of the way how movies are made. Movies are typically made on a very tight schedule, which means with all the moving parts, things need to come together just in time. If one part gets disrupted, the whole movie could be disrupted. So if writers go on strike, for example, production on the movies or on the shows can be delayed or canceled, which then has a significant impact on the industry. The Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild of America have been both involved in negotiations with major studios over the last years. As recent as 2020, the Screen Actors Guild reached an agreement which included increases for wages and more. But now, despite these arguments in the current strike, we are seeing fears in the industry that this is another $2 billion strike. So let's talk about strikes in the United States and compare it globally. As mentioned earlier, strikes in many countries are pretty common. Think about France, where the strikes were happening over the argument that the retirement age should be raised from 62 to 64. In the United States, it's rather seldom. So why are strikes so seldom in the United States? I believe it is in part for the National Labor Relations Act of 1935, the NLRA, which gives workers a right to form and to join a union, but also it sets out specific strike rules. Another reason for the infrequency of strikes in the United States is the country's labor culture, which is way more individualistic than collective. America as a country is more individualistic than collective. So people are more interested in fighting for their own rights than for a joint negotiation. And this is cultural. Europe has a different environment from a legal point of view, but also from a culture. The collective approach is very different in America. So what are notable strikes in the USA? The most significant strike is the 1981 air traffic controller strike. It was called by the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization, PATCO, and it shut down the national air traffic system. President Ronald Reagan at that time saw the strike as a threat to the national security and ordered the controllers back to work. They refused, so Reagan fired all of them, and he banned them forever working for the federal government again. We had more strikes in recent years. The teachers in the year 2018 striked in different places for better conditions. 2019, we had a General Motors strike, where for over 40 days, the strike was one of the longest in the automotive industry in the last 50 years. We had COVID-19 pandemic strikes, where in 2020, Amazon workers striked in New York City to demand better safety measures and a hazard pay during the pandemic. So while talking about the historic occurrences, let's talk about an outlook. While European labor law, and especially France, has a very different approach than the United States, but strikes in general are a way to achieve a better pay. The argument in the United States is always that only top-trained and qualified workers can strike because the US is based on the idea that workers can easily be replaced by others. So skills is the main topic. In many service industries, think fast food or retail, the turnover rate is high, and also there is a large pool of potential vulnerable workers. And as such, employers may feel less pressure negotiating with any striking unions as in other areas. The big picture that strikes can only be done in specialized employment situations in the United States may be historically true, but while we see more and more knowledge worker, more and more intelligent training, more and more specific industry operations, I can see that the strike culture in the United States may change. It may also change because when people come to America, they bring into the United States a little bit of their home country. There was a discussion about Volkswagen. Volkswagen, the German company who makes cars, are completely unionized in Germany. And they were surprised that Volkswagen did not have a union in the Chattanooga plant. At the end, the idea of creating a union with the potential to have strikes was rejected by the majority of the workers. Why? Again, I believe that the individualistic approach has a different meaning for so many workers at the Volkswagen plant than it is in Germany. Please share with me your thoughts about strikes and what cultural differences you see from one country to the other.
Thank you for joining us today. If you would like more information about Bridge House Law, please visit our website at bridgehouse.law. Before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more up-to-date content. Bridge House Law, business-minded, client-focused.
Whether you're a private citizen, an international business leader, or simply someone eager to stay on top of the latest news, this book is a great way to get caught up on the most recent developments in the worlds of international business, tax, politics, and social affairs. Go to morningmusings.com and order your copy today.